Greetings, tax tip lovers, and welcome to this week's Top Property Tax Tactics in just 5 minutes. Come, gather around, people, and let me share with you the story of Cameron, who sadly was one of the early victims of the pandemic. Cameron was a canny property owner and misanthrope who pushed people away before they got the chance to leave him and had practiced social distancing most of his life. Cameron had been a bright kid who studied biology at university and discovered early in life that living things respond to stimuli and growth. His hobby became his passion, progressing from word nerd to a cunning linguist who knew all there was to know about organisms and gained a reputation as a cultivar expert. He was a genuine guy, honest to a fault and open about his split personality, just Cameron being frank. Cameron created and ran a successful property business, and everything he did in life was crafted, not cobbled, with one huge exception. He never got around to writing his will. Here's our last conversation, which doubles as a homage to the bleeding obvious. Cameron, you're not different to everybody else. You are going to die, and it is going to be stressful for those you leave behind, who likely will scramble over every penny. Yeah, of course, your family's different, get real. And you risk splitting your family wide apart if you don't create and leave a valid, up-to-date will which reflects your wishes. So listen up, because here's why. Your will is your chance to leave a loved one a thoughtful gesture or to show a hopeful relative how much you preferred the dog to them. But it goes so much further than that. It makes the estate administration process as clear and straightforward as possible, which means dealing with your legal and tax affairs after you've died. It means dealing with assets such as property, personal possessions and investments, but also includes paying your debts, paying income tax and inheritance tax, and transferring inheritances to beneficiaries. Estate administration is required after every death, whether there's a will or not. But when a valid current will is left, everyone knows how the estate will be distributed and who will be inheriting. It names the individuals who are legally responsible for administering the estate, the executors, but they can only do that if you tell them where the will is located. If you die without a will, your estate is intestate, which means that it's distributed according to the rules of intestacy. Check out the link above. People like Cameron often assume that their closest loved ones will inherit even when they die without a will, but that's not always the case. For example, a partner will not inherit unless they're married or in a civil partnership. Step family are not entitled, and relatives who've lost touch with the deceased can inherit. The intestacy process is far more complicated and requires an administrator who is legally and financially responsible for the correct distribution of the estate. By definition, this is much more complicated as there's no will. You may need to create a family tree and have it professionally verified. Then, track down the beneficiaries while locating all the deceased assets and making sure none are missed. Cameron paid lip service to passing on wealth to the people that mattered to him and in the most tax-efficient way, but never did so. You've got one shot, one opportunity, so fix it. Make your will and avoid your loved ones melting in their own anxiety. In my experience, widows fall into two categories, the bereaved and the relieved. William Shakespeare famously left his second best bed to Anne Hathaway, aka Mrs. Shakespeare, while the vast bulk of his estate went to his daughter, Susanna. American comedian Jack Benny left money so that every day his florist could deliver a long-stemmed red rose to his widow, Mary Livingstone. The flower shop wasn't called the Enchanted Florist, but it should have been. We typically deal with all inheritance tax and associated issues for clients, usually in conjunction with the family's lawyers, and aim to take away as much stress as possible. Your options are, you can do nothing and stay in the exact same place and pay a shed load of tax unnecessarily, or you can follow the link above for a free Power Hour review with property tax experts who are ex-PwC and ex-HMRC. and we'll make your property tax planning like it was our own. Okay, that's it. Stay bright. Catch you again for breakfast next week. Ta-ra!